Good morning, everyone. Um, so yes, that's right. I will go through the previous year, and spoilers. We've had a very eventful year. I don't think we've ever had this many activities, and it's been very exciting. And I think we forget how much has happened in one year because a lot of things have happened. And so this is 2024 in review. So the year started very interestingly. We had, we actually said goodbye to the UPA cadets. Doesn't that seem like a long time ago? That seems like a long time ago because, like last year was the equivalent of like 3 years. It felt like. So we had the UPA cadets. We said goodbye to them. You can see their poster in their back. That was a very special time for sure for all of us. Can you see the picture? So this is the goodbye, and they got small gift bags, very pretty, very nice, very nicely done. And this is when Wansock, I remember, I will never forget this, and not because he said, but by the reaction of some people here. He said, Peter, you will be eternally national leader. And he meant for him in his heart. But some members were like, yes, this is... I'm like, no, it's not what he meant. But short after that, and they definitely left an imprint. They left an impression. You could say that, the UPA. And this was obviously the second UPA team we had. Short after that, we had... Short after that, the GPA team came. And so that was also very special. And this also seems like a long time ago, doesn't it? It seems more recent, but maybe only 1 year ago. UPA was maybe 2-3 years ago, right? So the GPA team comes, and this was... we had prepared ourselves more for GPA than we did for UPA. For the UPA, it was very much... So to clarify for those who don't know, so the UPA are the missionaries we received from Korea and Japan. And they were here 2 teams. They came in 2023 for 3 months, and then another team came for 3 months. And so this team is the latter team, the second team. And so right after that, we had the GPA, and GPA is missionaries from America. And so they came with a very different spirit. It was interesting. I was talking to the UPA missionaries, the ones from Korea, and they had different struggles. It was very unique to share with them. I was sharing with the UPA, and then, they were very devoted. They were like, we want to do this for the Providence. We want to do this for God and your parents. And so I was asking them, well, what I asked them, in 5 years from now, where do you see yourself? And they had no idea. So so how would you like to serve God and your parents, right? And they were like the opposite of individualistic, right? Which is beautiful and amazing, but I think that was their challenge. So when they struggled, they couldn't really process it somehow. They didn't know how to share it. It was so difficult for them. And so their struggle was, how to acknowledge my struggles despite of having this noble goal of providence and supporting your parents. Well, GPA is maybe the opposite of that, right? Well, they were thinking about themselves only, right? And so the providence in your parents was secondary, right? And so we actually thinking, when planning and preparing for these missionaries, we thought it was going to be a little bit the opposite. We thought the UPA would need so much love and care. And of course they needed love and care, and they needed taken care of, the cultural difference, and, we had sharings, essentially every day. But the GPA team, because they were thinking about themselves more, if I may, their breakthroughs were maybe greater, right? Because they could break through in a sense of, I want to offer something, right? Instead of when you only look at yourself and then break through to look at others, that's quite profound. And hearing their testimonies and hearing sharings from everybody here, they and when they call in to Chonchimwan prayer and other things, they seem different somehow, and so that we can take a lot of credit in that. So the different approach as they came, and so this is, I think, the first time they went out witnessing. We have Felix there, and I suppose Nina is taking the picture. Yes.
I think Mom was coming.
And Anne-Marie was also there.
Yeah.
So champs do it in the winter in the snow, and so exciting to receive the GPA missionaries. And so we have some nice pictures from different events. Full transparency, I picked that picture up to the right because I think Felix looks funny there. But they also had the carp talks. You can see down there is Rika is having a carp talk in front of guests and members, and then there's also a picture of I think this must be the Chonchim one, one evening. So very nice, and I think this is ice skating with Nina Jeanette. There was a lot of that happened. We did many activities with them, and that's what makes a year seem long. If you look back at it, is if many things happened, right? If you look back at, like, when you ask a child if time goes quickly or slowly, they'll say slowly, because every moment is so memorable for them, because they're experiencing new things, so they're remembering. But when you become an adult and you go to work every day, 5 days a week, and you do that, and you go to Sunday service on Sunday, then suddenly, like, 1 month becomes 1 day, right? Because there's not so much memorable things happen. However, with the GPA team, so many things happened, and that is very exciting, and so many impressions were made for all of us. And so one thing, I have this amazing picture. Actually, Nina helped choose a lot of pictures, so I picked from those. And so we have this amazing picture of Tim here. Wow, look at that. Wow, if you didn't think that God spoke through Tim, you just look at that picture and tell me that is not messianic or prophetic or... So we had the Saturday seminars. And yes, this is a tradition we've had now for, I think, two years almost, starting with Heide, Rebas, and Joe. We did that. I was talking to Joe the other day, and we were saying that he was like, oh my God, I came up every Saturday for like 6 months. And I was like, yeah, I didn't see my family for 6 months, because we did it so rigorously, and at the time Tim was preparing these Saturday seminars for every occasion, right? So he was really like a machine, just producing this material and studying, and then he was sharing with me, so excited, like, oh, I have this, and then I made these changes, and it was really quite beautiful. So this tradition of Saturday seminars then continued, which was very nice, also with the GPA team, so I want to give, I chose this picture, the grandiose picture of you, Tim, because to acknowledge your hard work and see that God is shining on you, surely. And so then we also had the advanced principle workshop. And I think it's just me and Mikael who just got to be in there for the picture. The others stayed the whole weekend, but me and Mikael made a visit on the day. And so this was our first divine principle workshop, I think, that we've had in a very long time. Who remembers last time we had a principle workshop in Sweden? It must have been. See, that's how long ago it was. In Piteå. A workshop? No, I wouldn't count that as a divine principle workshop. So that we do have a lot of workshops, but we don't usually. I mean, there's principle content, but there's not. This was specifically for divine principle. But that was a very nice workshop, one of my favorite, I would say. So a very good time indeed. Um, so we had our dear Dr. David Hanna. He came with his wife Kyungja Hanna, and they gave what I have heard are very, very good lectures for the weekend, and they were very impressed not only by the team and the members but also the guests. They thought they were very good guests and were very intrigued. And so you can see here there's some familiar faces. You can see Matthias at the bottom left there, and Guled is also there.
Nice venue.
Very nice venue. You'll see this venue again in the report. And trust me. So we are frequent visitors there. But yeah, it's a very, very good event, and we're very grateful for the Julin family for hosting us. That was, in the end, it seemed like the obvious choice because it turned out so great. But we take for granted the hard work, actually, that it takes to host someone in your home for a weekend for such a noble cause, right? You're not just hosting people for lunch or dinner, but you're hosting people to provide them with spiritual content. So thank you, Julin family. And speaking of the Julin family, we had Thank God's Day in Björnlunda, which was, I think, very fun. We have some very nice pictures from the occasion. For me, personally, one highlight was Amre's song here. I think we need more of that. This very memorable pear tree. It's always nice to come together. I think if there's a lesson to be learned from these holidays, is that sometimes, personally, and you can judge me here if you would like, sometimes I forget like the significance of the holiday. For me, it's just so nice to meet everyone and have wonderful food together and have wonderful company. Of course, that's not something a national leader should say, but that's how I feel, and it's so nice to come together. So we also had very nice performances, and of course very nice food, and it's reflected in the smiles here. Not much after that, we had the Bloom Festival. And who here was there actually? Can you raise your hand? And those online, I can't see you, but I assume that half of you are raising your hand. So we had quite a lot of people that came to the Bloom Festival. This is, of course, our dear President Moon, very inspired as he is. A very nice performance. We had Kim perform in front of everyone. And actually, there's a story here, because we were sightseeing in the evening on the last day. And then we were just going around town, and then one of the Korean staff, he recognized Kim. I was like, "Oh, thank you for your performance." And then somehow like, "Can I buy you ice cream?" And then so he in the end bought us all ice cream. And so he's the one next to Ice there. And so he was very fond of Kim's performance, and so we all were rewarded ice cream. collective association. And then we had a dinner for those that were available, and those actually got the message. Not everybody got the message, but those who got the message and were available, that we joined for dinner, which was very nice. And this was actually so earlier that day I had received a gift from True Mother, right? And so I had received some money, some pocket money, which is to me quite unusual to receive as a gift. Just here, money. And I'm like, thank you. And so I thought, what better way is it to spend a gift from True Mother but by sharing it with the community? So for me, this was a gift from True Mother to the community, those that were available to join. And so through that, we had a very nice time. We managed to squeeze everyone into a corner. The waiter was not happy about that. He was. I remember I asked him with the tables, and then I remember the last table he kind of shoved it like this. And I was like, okay, sorry for coming to your restaurant. But in the end, it worked out. And so it was a very nice event, and it was so nice to. It's always nice to go to an event together as a community. And I remember also when True Mother came to Austria, it was also the same. I remember walking down that Mariastrasse, And then on like one cafe, my mom and Anne-Marie was having coffee and stuff like there. And then you walk past Mikael on the other side. And it was kind of like everybody was there. And that was such a nice feeling to just see people that you love in a different place than Sundbyberg, you know. it's just you're in a foreign place, but you know everybody somehow. It was very nice. And so we then had to say goodbye to the GPA team. You know, at this time, they had actually grown a lot. A lot of things have happened. All right, so it was quite remarkable to hear their change. Also, we heard the report from the GPA staff. They were like so thankful because no other team in no other country had breakthrough in the participants as much as they did in Sweden. And so a huge shout out to Felix and Nina who really cared for the GPA. They received so much love and encouragement, but you know, also from so many members that took their time, and they told us afterwards that apparently, like, this is the COVID generation, right? These were the ones who they were at home for long periods of time and they couldn't meet people, and so they were really vulnerable. They were really going through things, and so coming to Sweden was like a what would you call, like psycholog, you know. Were meeting psychologists. We were all their psychologists, and of course they were bringing beautiful guests and doing beautiful events, and they were really nice to spend time with. And somehow they're shining. When you serve the God unto parents, you have a glow and shine. And so they had this, of course. However, all the other teams in the other countries, they came back and they were still struggling and suffering essentially. It was really sad. But our team, they left Sweden and were really in a good place, right? Left us a little bit so-so. but you know, they had a very good time, and that's very important. It's very important that we can offer something nice to them, and we also had that as a goal, you know, to offer them a good time when they come here, and that's with all of our guests. Also with Munkangsalem, they came in December, and the team that we really wanted to give them a good time, offer them Sweden, and so now they are forever Swedish. So whatever success they bring out in the world, we take full credit. Yes. Applause to Sweden. And if they don't do good things, you know, they're not Swedish, but we'll see. We'll still, you know. So we also had Day of All True Things in Björnlunda, a smaller gathering, but very nice. We're so grateful again to be able to be in Björnlunda. The first time I showed the picture to Daniela of Björnlunda, she's like, wow, it looks like a peace embassy. And I was like, oh wow, Lawrence would like to hear that. So it's a very beautiful house, and now I very much feel like a very beautiful spirit is created there, through the Julian family and also through our presence and devotion in this house. And so a very nice day of All True Things in Björnlunda. We also had the Peace Road. Who here joined the Peace Road? Oh, a lot of people joined the Peace Road. And this started at the memorial for the Swedish people that joined the the Korean War. As we sent, I believe, a hospital ferry or something like this, and then we supported them. And so we started at that memorial, and then we went to the North Korean embassy, thanks to the help of Mikael, who's been very devoted in supporting them. They're a little bit like neighbors, so it's also investing in his community. And so it was a very nice day. Like the sun was shining. We later on had pizza. I have some pictures of that as well. We took the ferry to outside Grand Hotel. What's it called? The harbor there? Nybroviken. Could be, yes.
From Nybroviken.
From Nybroviken. Oh yeah, we went from the to Roopsten. That's right. That's
Have a
right.
picture of the bathroom line at Roopstead?
No, that's something I'm trying to forget. So, thank you. Now we will remember it for another year. Hopefully, you won't bring it up next year. So. Yes, it was, we need to accommodate bathroom breaks next time. We have to take that into account. It's not like going on a hike. We just go anywhere. So it was very beautiful, a beautiful day. And then of course we had pizza. And the pizza is reflected in Mikael's stance there. It was happy, it was joy. And at this time, I want to remember that a previous missionary joined us also with her Masako, with her 2 children, right? Yeah, so really like coincidence. Missionaries come and then the old missionaries come. And so we had a very nice day in the park. A lot of people came. It's beautiful. We had the beautiful scarves from Chania. And so we ended up at the North Korea.
Did you see the light beam there?
Yes.
Sounds really cool.
It's probably Tim is probably there. Right? Who is that actually? Is that
It looks like
Simon?
Yeah, Simon.
Simon.
You're chosen.
Wow. Tim and Simon. God is shining on you. So takeaways be like Tim and Simon. And we ended up at the North Korean embassy. And we couldn't go inside. It would have been like an invasion, but we were outside. And you met them afterwards, is that, yeah. Then we had the barbecue at Akalabi, and we played Kub. Wait, actually, this was before, must have been before, because the GPA was there, and the GPA, they actually beat us at Kub. And that was, I think if there's anything we need to improve for next year, well, that cannot happen again. This is not unacceptable. Really, the only reason why we have it here is to reflect on our mistakes so we can do better. We also had Mike and Fumika Bakum visiting Malmö, which is I believe I sent it in the weekly email, but it's quite special, right? And I don't think we acknowledge the how cool that is actually. Then Mike and Fumika Bakum, they were in Malmö. They visited Denmark and then they came over to Malmö. And so here we see the holy ground by the tree here. Our amazing national leader Lars and James, and then in the bottom we have Gustavo. I see James. Anyways, so they had a dinner. Don't remember who they had dinner at, but I think it's at the Blessed Family, that's for sure. I would like to give them a shout out. So shout out to whoever hosted the dinner. And so then we had much later, we had the advanced principle workshop, the number 2, with our Uncle David, or Dr. David Hanna. And so we invited some guests that had been there previously, also some new guests. We had some very nice discussions, and I think, me being me, one of the highlights were homemade bread and the chili, which was very nice. Me and Dada, we had spent hours the day before rolling bread, like, just because the sourdough needs, and we don't have the equipment, so we were literally like, it's a lot of work. How many breads did you make? 6 breads. And yes, quite amazing. And Johannes, he spent hours on making this stew. So a lot of why I'm sharing this is a lot of work goes around. Yeah, it's a lot of work goes in the background. Also, there's so many. Anne-Marie, she does fika for the Saturday services and cooks food also. It's like these are the unspoken heroes that make it so nice. And applause for the Unspoken Heroes. Because it's a lot of work. It's taken for granted. You eat the food and then you're done. But so much work goes into actually preparing this food. And so this what's her name? Rukia. She was then apparently me and my brother became Tensta famous. And she took a picture with us because I believe I was MC. And then Johannes was preparing the food, so she was like, "Oh my God, this is the perfection of spiritual and physical." And she apparently shared a selfie with the two of us, and like, wow, these twins are amazing. And so Tensta famous, I think Johannes. Huh? Whole of Järfälla famous. I like Tensta, sounds better though to me. So a very good event, and we should be very grateful that our Uncle David and Dr. Hanna, he could come twice last year. He, as you know, has some problem with his legs. So it's difficult for him to travel, and he came twice to Sweden. So a lot of things are happening in Sweden, and we should be grateful for that. Then we also had the Champomon discussion. I thought that was very nice. Out of all of that, I have to say what I like the most is actually the reaction to this by most members. I think the ones who are here have been through enough to know that this will, in the long run, we will know the truth, and we will know what's going on, and we will accept it, and we will move forward. And a lot of other communities, and I've heard a lot of communities use this new text as a reason to create a distance, and it's quite sad. And I feel like we don't have that in Sweden, right? We have a different approach, and I was so happy to see that the very candid conversations we had together. I have to say I want to give a shout out to George Table. I thought your summary was amazing about the Holy Spirit and connection with True Mother, and I was like, because my table, we were just kind of like breaking it apart, like the facts, like this is bad, this is good, and this is bad, and therefore it's incorrect here, and like and I remember when we shared this, David Hanna was like, he's also very factual and very on the details, whilst then when George shared on behalf of his table, he was saying that the significance of True Mother speaking about we had to reunite with the Christian spirit. We had to give rebirth to the Christians, and they say that the Holy Spirit gives rebirth to Christians, and so True Mother as the object position as the Messiah is. Then she represents the Holy Spirit, and she can give rebirth to Christianity. And I was like, wow, like that's your takeaway. That's amazing how you can be so optimistic. While we were like, bad. But when the amazing thing when Auntie Kyungja, she heard this, she was like, yes, So it's also interesting how the different also in our sub-regional presidents couple, how they are also this dualistic in this sense. We also had a True Children's Day, and very nice. We had some beautiful paintings and amazing food. It was arranged by Sara, Team, and Daniela. A team we hopefully will see this again, this cooperation.
Yes.
And so some beautiful pictures were drawn, and I wonder if people sat across of people they don't like, so they could be like, yeah, that's right. Because apparently this is how the portraits look like. So they were supposed to draw without looking at the paper, right? So then it turned out like this. Very interesting pictures indeed. I think some are just very spot on. Fantastic pictures. Fred is really good. I think there's someone looked at the paper.
Yes.
Because it's like if I put that next to Fred, I wouldn't know.
I think it was Martha.
Yeah.
Which is-
It was Martha.
This is Marta. And so I picked out some. I wasn't there actually, so I've looked at these carefully, and I picked out some favorites. Of course, Nils. The essence is right. Amazing. We also have Team. Wow, wow. It does give me this. You know, Tim. I've heard Tim give the Divine Principle lectures many times. Introduction, and he says that we are in conflict, and this embodies that. This is in conflict. The eyes are. It depends on which eye you look at. It's a different personality. You could just cover with one with the hand like that. So this I don't even know. It looks like a sheep to me. Do we know who is this?
Emina, it's one of Marilla had two Turkish
Ah.
with an engineering department.
Oh, I see.
With the curly hair, yeah.
Wow. The curls are there, the eyes are there, everything to make a person. Nose, mouth,
The beard is like
the beard. Is it the under the eyes? That's supposed to be blushing, or is that the eyebrows? That just.
That's mustache.
That's a mustache. I love that.
Where I think it's yeah, well, just
And then we have my favorite, Laura, which I just. No, I can't say it's accurate. It's horrible. But it's also so funny. You know, it's when it's I picked the pictures that looked the most face-like. And so I'm so sorry for those who have that beard. But they're so funny. Like, I'm so sad I did not get to do this in real time. And I'm so sorry for Lara, who also got to experience it in real time. But anyways, this is a tradition we have to upkeep, maintain. It's a new culture now. So then we had the Chonbo in Uppsala. And we've already shared a little bit about the Chonbo event. I'm not going to go too much into detail. But we were in this amazing location. For those of you who weren't there, I mean, incredibly beautiful countryside. So much thought went into creating this place. It was created for something like this. And those who were there, you know, you felt something very special. We could also bring our prayer room, our prayer temple, to there, and which made it somehow, you know, very special, very special. And I very much hope that we can have Preston Moon again. I think that would be very nice, and we can this time, you know, prepare even more to invite people from abroad and our community members. And it was like planning for this. It was one of those things where, like, yes, I know there's an importance to it and significance to it, but also it's kind of like, yes, and actually I have to do this. I have to prepare it, and I have to be welcoming and all this. But I was more worried and stressed. But then when the event actually happened, it was like there was no doubt in my mind that of the value of this, and it was so precious. It was incredibly spiritual, and it was a very beautiful, a very nice way to finish the year. We also had some nice sharings, and Mikael and Daniela were MCs. Mikael was for the Chonchimwan evening prayer, and Daniela was MC for the event. And we had sharings from Johannes, Felix, Kikuko also had a sharing, and also a lot of performances. It was a very beautiful time. However, unlike most Swedish events, this was special to me because for this specific event, it wasn't the company or the food that was the highlight for me. It was actually the event itself, which makes it really stand out and very precious. We also had the Norwegian family. We can see in the bottom right there. I don't know. Don't remember his name, but they came all the way from Norway. They drove, and then it was a whole logistics getting the chairs away from there because we didn't have. And they stayed late into the evening, helping to remove the chairs, and then before they left. So it was a very special event, a very nice event, and I very much hope that we can in the future prepare even better, because I felt like we can do so much better. This time we had 1 week of preparation from when we got the schedule, and so next time maybe we'll have 2 weeks. Who knows, right? So we can prepare better, and that's fantastic. I want to, with that, give a shout out to the Chuncheon team. I very much feel that why the Chunbo event went as well as it did was because of the devotion that has been laid. And so an extra shout out goes to Mikael, Felix, and Nina. Of course, a lot of other people like Anne-Marie, Ing-Marie, I think Britta joins a lot online, and Bengt joins a lot. And so we're very fortunate to have this Chuncheon and the devotion that's being made from there. However, to mention the unsung heroes again, I remember, because before, this was 10 years ago or 9 years ago, I moved to Stockholm. I lived with the Fuches, and then I would stay. I stayed some time in Gullmarsplan. I stayed some time next to the Julin family, and something that I noticed, which we don't say enough, is that there's so much devotion that goes on around. And I know that also, not just the Stockholm members, also, the Freelands and, the Houstons and, the Hansens, and, there's so many people that pray for this community and for us to be successful and do conditions continuously. And, this young adults here in the community might be a little bit, this is all we've known all our life, the conditions. So we're a little bit fed up with it, but that's something, a lesson to take away. We maintain because of these conditions and the work that's done. And also, we've had a lot of events last year. We had missionaries visit us. That's also possible because of all the effort that's made for them, that they could be in Gullmarsplan with the Passions, Anne and Fred. And also, the fact that we can be here is also due to a lot of members that give donations and do tithing, right? We're here because people, they give something from their own so that we can have these events. And, soon we will receive another team from UPA, but they'll be here for 2 years. And Ingmar is doing a lot of work to make sure that their visas are in order. And it's very troublesome and a lot of work. And yes, it's a lot of work. And they want to come in February. So we're highly skeptical of that. So, but with that, we need to, invest our time to make that successful. And those who want and can to give tithing and donations, that makes all of this possible. And so I want to acknowledge those people, the ones who do the effort, the ones who give tithing, and the ones who show up here every Sunday to make this community whole and make this what we are. So I want to, with that, thank you for 2024. It was an incredibly eventful year, and I hope that 2025 will be even better. Thank you so much.